Hey guys, today I have a sort of vloggy style video for you. I didn't want to use the tripod today because I'm mostly going to be moving the camera around so much that I might as well just hold it. I wanted to do sort of a very casual updated bookshelf tour for you. I've reorganized things a little bit since I did my last one last year, and there's some new things and whatever. I figured I'd just walk you through it just to have you updated on what's on my shelves. And I can show you my TBR shelves again, blah blah blah. So I wanted to do that today, but I'm gonna just be kind of pulling things out that I find interesting at random rather than walking you through every single book. Hopefully you don't mind, and this will give you a nice idea of the flavor of my shelves and all that. Let's get right into it because my arm's gonna fall off. Oh my god, this is so heavy. Alright, so this is my first shelf. This is a little bit shorter than all of my other shelves, so this is where all of my short books go. As far as interesting things on this shelf, you can kind of see all the titles as I'm panning around here. This book in particular, So Far from the Bamboo Grove, is an important one to me. I actually got to meet the author when I was, I think, in middle school, and she comes to our middle school every year, though I think she's stopping soon because she's getting on in years. Basically, this is a fiction book, but it's based on her real experiences during World War II, and it's really just an incredible story. It was so good to meet her, and so I've always held on to this copy in particular. I don't think it's signed. Oh no, it is. Look at that. Oh, that's awesome. I totally forgot that it was actually signed, so that's amazing. As far as other interesting things on the shelf, I've got, of course, my lovely ocarina here, which my roommates in college gave to me for my birthday a couple years back, and then I have another Zelda themed thing over here, my little Zelda shot glass, my little Triforce. Gotta love my Zelda stuff. Moving down a shelf here, this is basically just the rainbow shelf. I don't really have any other rhyme or reason to why these particular books are here, and I have this kind of weird gap up there, so I'm probably, like this one, just gonna keep stacking books up as I finish them from my TBR shelf and move them back in here, and so hopefully I'll just kind of continue with the whole rainbow thing, and that'll be that. I don't know, I'm gonna keep playing with it, but anyway, here I'll just kind of pan through them so you can see. In particular, one of my favorites on this shelf is, of course, The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. It's probably not a big surprise. A lot of people absolutely adore this book. I had to read it for my freshman year of high school, way back in the day. And of course on this shelf, I think I have introduced you to Rhaegal before, but this is my little pet dragon. He's awesome, and he's guarding my story cubes here, which is basically just a set of dice that have pictures on them. So if you want a writing prompt, you roll them and then you use the pictures to make your prompt, and then you have to write a story for it. So it's good if you have a little writer's block and just need to kind of make something just to get yourself writing. Next shelf down, we basically have my hardcover series. This shelf hasn't changed very much. With these series, I have 2 out of 3 for all of these series in hardcover, and then for this one, the second one's on my Kindle. For this one, the first one is softcover, so it's down there, and then I've got just these 2. I don't have, or don't own, the third one yet, and then there's just the Default, so that's obviously by itself. Over here we have my awesome gem tree. I love this thing. I got it in Lake George, somewhere near Lake George last summer, and behind it, and behind the speaker, is of course my awesome pretty bind up of Alice in Wonderland stories. I think I got it cheap at Barnes & Noble, as you can see. And I like it a lot. I like the design, I like the color, it's really nice. I like never have pink books, so that was kind of fun. And then of course over here we have another pretty rock thing that I got when I was at Lake George, and I'm sitting on top of this little itty bitty book of secrets, which I still haven't read, but I probably just got it like a Newbury Comics or something like that. And next we have basically my softcover series. So that hasn't changed a ton, but I have rearranged the way that this looks and what's included on the shelf and what's not. And as far as highlights, well, first of all, let me just pan through these so you can kind of see what I got here. Sorry if it's a little glary. Hopefully you can still read all these titles here. So there they are. As far as things of interest on the shelf, basically front and center, I have one of the first souvenirs I got while I was studying abroad, which is of course my 7th Harry Potter. That's in Czech. No, I cannot read it, but it was cool just to have it. And this is a new addition to the shelf. My parents were going through their books and just kind of found it there, so they let me put it on my shelf, or they put it on there for me. And then I got my awesome old copy of Through the Looking Glass that my parents got me last summer, which I think is pretty cool, though it's so fragile that I'm terrified to actually read it. And then for non-bookish things, in this corner we have my little black elephant here, which I got from the Moser Glass Factory in the Czech Republic. And back here we've got this little jar full of sea glass, which I collected from the beach in Whitstable in England when I visited my roommate Brenna, who was studying in Canterbury. And now finally down here for this shelf, this is the last shelf on the shelf, and it's basically just the books that don't fit anywhere else. These two always give me a lot of trouble. They're like weird dimensions for some reason compared to all of my other books, and so I never know where to put them. They never fit nicely or align nicely with everything else, so I shoved them down here, though I do really like these books. I should probably reread them sometime. But yeah, that is basically the entirety of my main shelf. This is where most of my books live, but I do have a couple other shelves, so I will walk you through those. This is the other shelf in this room, though I will actually start with a pan for this one. It's probably changed the most out of the two. First of all, up here, this used to all be like DVDs and stuff. Actually, both of these shelves used to be just my DVDs and Blu-rays. The bookshelves in our house are just all filled, and so my mom was clearing off a bunch of things and reorganizing, and so I put all of my DVDs over in the closet, and then she put her books up here. And so I don't really know what to say about most of these because I haven't read most of them. Next, moving down one shelf, we had a bunch of books that used to live on that shelf and now live over here. They're basically all books that I've owned for a long time, a bunch of childhood favorites and things of that nature. So if I can focus here, pan through some of them so you can see them. You may recognize some of these titles from your own childhood. I can't really pick a favorite of these just because so many of them are really special to me from my childhood. But as far as other things on this shelf, over here I have a couple of pins. One of them is from my roommate Brenna, who I just mentioned, the one that was studying in England. She went to London and got this pin for me. And then this was from my best friend Jess from BookCon, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Jess. But yeah, I've had that. She gave that to me in a birthday envelope while I was in Prague. She sent me over there with a few envelopes and it was very sweet. So that is that shelf. Moving on to the next one, this is kind of a random assortment of books. Over here we have my collection of Zelda manga. It's the box set and I love them. They're so cute. And I have the audio book of The Fault in Our Stars, the one that John narrated. And then I have basically a bunch of like classics and things over here and then other random books. And then of course over here I've got my Czech version of The Little Prince. I have a regular version as well that my mom gave to me, which I love very dearly. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. And next to it, I actually also have the German versions. Now I have 3, because why not? Then as far as other things of interest, I do have a signed copy of the report card. I went to Borders and he was there and I met him and he signed it for me for Jackie, Andrew Clemens. 2004, so I was in 4th grade. That was a long time ago, guys. And then basically these last 2 shelves aren't super worth mentioning because you guys might not be that interested, but these are all of my video games. And then down on the bottom shelf, we have some more random crap. Like I've got some I Spy and Where's Waldo from my childhood. Can you even see that? And then I have Hyrule Historia, which I adore. If you're a big Zelda fan, then you'll know exactly what this is. It came out when Skyward Sword came out for the 25th anniversary of Zelda, and it's got beautiful art and stuff in it, and the timeline, and all this other stuff. Concept art. It's very beautiful, and I love it. Also, some of you might remember these books. I loved this thing. It's Dragonology, and of course it's got like stuff you can open and like take out and pages where you can like feel stuff to do with the dragons, like the scale. I loved this thing when I was a kid. And then basically this is all just like school related books, so we're not even gonna go there. And finally we are moving on to my TBR shelves, which are kind of messy. Oh dear, don't look, but do look. Basically these are all new to the shelf, as well as this is a new Murakami book that I got. I wanted to read more by him, and so I started with A Wild Sheep Chase. I had already read Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. So those are all these soft covers. They're sort of in rainbow order, but mostly just a mess. And I'm not reading them fast enough, clearly. Down here, though, we have all the hardcover ones. This is actually my boyfriend's, which I need to read and then give back to him. And then this I got for myself, The Wrath of the Dawn, which you've all been talking about. Like, everybody's been talking about this book, and so I decided to pick it up, and I still need to read it. And I think the rest you have already seen. I'm hopefully going to read this month. Me and my best friend Jess are going to hopefully start it this month as a buddy read, and that should be fun. And then the rest is just, this is all messy. This is my jewelry box, and I think the only other thing on the shelf is some journals over here. And then this really old book that I don't even remember where I got it from anymore, but it's Fairy Tale Bears, and I haven't actually read it yet, but it's kind of just cool to own some old books, so. Alright, and so that is that. Those are all of my bookshelves and my updated tour. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you liked my little anecdotes and stuff, and I don't feel like, you know, you can read. I don't feel like I need to go through every single book every time, but if you do want one, then let me know. I can film one, it just takes so long. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I gotta put this down, my arm hurts so bad. I'm sorry, this is probably so shaky because my arm is dying. This has been a bookshelf tour. My name is Jackie and I will see you guys in my next one.